Alrighty, people. We are very close to week 2 now. We are just hours away from the Sunday 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time slate of games. We're happy to be here with you. Lots of questions I'm sure we're going to answer today. We're averaging out around, 300 to 500 questions answered a stream, somewhere in that range. So we're going to help as many of you as we possibly can. Just a note for you guys, super chats do get answered straight away. Otherwise, we are going to go in order on the stream from top to bottom. And it's going to be a good stream. We're glad you're with us. Do us a favor, smash that like button to show some love. And, also, you can ask a question through our website. I'll paste that link in the chat real quick. In fact, we are going to go ahead and answer a couple questions on the website here to start just quickly, and then we'll get into the other ones. So let's start with Lloyd Xmas. Big shout out to Lloyd Xmas. Okay, let's move our faces up here so y'all can see this. So Lloyd says, trying to decide what stack to go with in week 2. Thanks, dude. It's a start sit question. It's a Dynasty 1 quarterback team start 8. So we are going to start Matthew Stafford. We don't have another quarterback option here, so I'm not sure if he filled it out right. I don't think he filled this question out right.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I don't think he filled all of his players.
Yeah,
So it's a little bit tough to kind of answer that question.
Yeah.
It just says considering Tyler Johnson, so he didn't pick the second player.
I was gonna say, hey, bro, you only selected 3 total players for your team, so we can't really answer it well. Have a look at the stream if you like.
Yeah, that's okay.
So yeah, it looks like he only inputted the players that he was considering starting. So I think maybe he thought that the site would automatically input like players. I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah.
All right, so let's see if we
have the position, and then he was like, "I'm considering starting the wide receiver tight end position."
Yeah. All right, one more here. This is a trade here. My team is Fields, Williams, Bijan, Moss, Spears. He's got Kupp, Rice, Waddle, Worthy, Mooney, Lazard, Dortch. Tight ends are McBride. And let's have a look at this trade offer. So it looks like one side gets Xavier Worthy and Jonathan Taylor. The other side gets Garrett Wilson and Aaron Jones. What do you feel about this?
This is a start 7.
Yep.
One quarterback. And this is in Dynasty. I will personally be keeping Jonathan Taylor and Xavier Worthy side. I love Garrett Wilson. It's a smaller league, so we do emphasize the running back room a little bit more with Bijan and Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
So as much as I love Garrett Wilson, I know you have Cooper, Kupp, Rice, Waddle. I think you have enough there to say, you know what, I'm just going to be leaning on some of these running backs in the start 7 over Garrett Wilson.
If this was redraft, I think I'd be comfortable saying the Garrett Wilson, Aaron Jones side. But with Aaron Jones' age and his contract in Dynasty, it's a different game entirely. So we are going to label Xavier Worthy side the winner there. So we appreciate y'all for submitting questions through the site. Y'all can do that now. You can do that later. But let's get to some other questions. The one bit of news we really need to talk about is A.J. Brown. I guess just before we start, we don't have any confirmation on if or if not he will play. There's really no news to rely on right now. So it really is going to be a situation where you need to have a backup ready to go. We can't repeat the CMC situation of last week. Here's my concern, Badaki, you and I have different levels of concern. I'm probably, based off our conversations before the stream, I'm probably a little bit more concerned than the average person because this came up midweek, and that is concerning to me. It's not an issue that he's been dealing with already. It's something that's, new this week. It happened in practice, and it's kept him out of practice for 2 straight days. so he is officially questionable. I think you need a pivot option in this game. So when you think about Eagles versus Falcons, pivots that could be available to you would be names like Darnell Mooney potentially, names like Ray McCloud, names like Jahan Dotson. Those are really the main ones that come to mind for me.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if on the other side of the ball, I still like Darnell Mooney. And that's probably the only guy I would throw out. I'm not sure if you mentioned Darnell Mooney, but I would. I did. Okay, awesome. But yeah, for me, the concern is not as high. I do have AJ Brown, but I do have options. So if I'm going into this week, then yes, like those names that you did mention, I'm okay to then pivot off of. At least you're going to have to pivot off of. I mean, you're going to be upset, starting a wide receiver on the Sunday morning slates and saying, well, AJ Brown's going to play. We just don't know that. So I think you're just going to have to play it by ear. Maybe you have a wide receiver in the second slate of games. Maybe you have an Xavier Worthy. Maybe you have, George Pickens. If you have those guys, that's great. But I think I would rather wait to see what's going to happen with AJ Brown and then just risk it with Darnell Mooney or Ray or, like you said, Jahan Dotson.
Those are only break glass scenarios because they're on the same matchup.
Yeah.
But
yeah, exactly.
But all right, we appreciate y'all. Let's get to this thing. Do us a favor, smash that like button to show some love on today's stream. We are answering questions from top to bottom. Super chats do get prioritized. Otherwise, we go in order. And the first super chat today is from Tatman. Appreciate you, Tat. He says, if AJ Brown is out, I have either Amari Cooper or Worthy advice. I mean, personally, my advice is if you don't know tomorrow if AJ Brown's going to play or not, I would have to play Amari Cooper. I can't be in a situation like CMC last week where you think potentially he's going to play, but you have no real idea if he's going to. The worst case scenario is, again, like we said, hey, if you have a Darnell Mooney on your waivers, a Ray McCloud, a Jahan Dotson, you can pick those guys up if you want to wait on AJ Brown. But I just think there's too much. Like, if we don't hear a report, by the time you have to decide on these other names, I'm probably just going to play Amari Cooper.
Yeah, I agree. If you don't have another if you don't hear the report, it's going to be Amari Cooper for me over Worthy. He's one of my favorite starts coming into this week as well. He's playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I am okay with Amari Cooper over AJ Brown if you don't know that. I think one thing I would say, like, the CMC thing was like, CMC is going to play. It was like all week, CMC is going to play. He even said he was going to play. I think that situation is a little bit different, but I understand where you're coming from. Like, you don't want to have that situation where you're just really relying on that player to play and then it's not there. So I think you'd rather just,
I guess I can't think of a situation where it's been positive, where a player has been healthy and then midweek they get an injury and they don't practice 2 days in a row. Like, if the percentage chance on that player playing historically in the past 10 years, it's got to be like 20%.
I think yeah, I agree. I think it's just like the context of it as well. Like from what I've read for AJ Brown specifically, it was just like tightness. He didn't tweak his hamstring to where like he can't walk or run. It was kind of like the same situation as Malik Nabers. It was his knee though. It was knee tightness. So he stopped playing.
Fantasy
but like he's
Pros, Jordan Epp from Epp Sports is saying he did tweak it though.
Yeah, Friday, hamstring tightness. From what I'm reading here on Sleeper is saying hamstring tightness.
Okay.
So I guess those are two different reports on two different platforms that we rely on.
I don't have enough insider information personally. I mean, look, I just don't want to be put in that situation. I mean, knowing that there's a serious chance you could get 0 points because he doesn't play is very scary.
I definitely get
that. You're gonna have to really follow it up all the way up until kickoff for those other names. All right, appreciate y'all. Thanks for joining us. Like goal today is 100 likes. Be a friend. Smash that like button to show some love. We are answering questions in order. Super chats do get prioritized. And the next question is from Nate. What's up, Nate? He says, have AJ Brown, leaning towards sitting him. If I do, would you start likely Deontay Johnson or Brian Thomas Jr.? Yeah, a lot of AJ Brown. I told you before the stream, I said, be ready. These AJ Brown questions are going to be coming in.
I'll go process of elimination here. I don't want to start Deontay Johnson without understanding what this Panthers offense is going to look like. So for me, it's between Likely and Brian Thomas. I know Brian Thomas is against a tougher matchup, but I'm gonna go Brian Thomas Jr. here. I think that's just, and likely has a good opportunity as well to kind of bounce back, or not bounce back, but to pick up where he left off.
Yeah, I think this is a situation for me. Look, I love Brian Thomas Jr. long term. Y'all know I loved him in the drafts this year, but to me, this is a situation where you don't have like a clear name where I wouldn't rather just grab Dotson off the waiver wire and wait on AJ. In this situation, that would be my advice. Grab Dotson off the waiver wire, grab Mooney, grab Ray McLeod, and wait to see if AJ Brown plays. That's the route I would take personally. But if I had to play one of these names, I mean, shoot, we've already seen what Isaiah Likely's ceiling is. I'll just throw him in there at this point, you know?
Yeah.
Very difficult one, though. Next super chat here from Ryan. Thanks for donating and supporting the show, man. He says half PPR, Rachaad or Najee. I'm going to go Rachaad White here pretty easily.
Yeah, I agree. Rachaad White. No,
just the work he gets in the air. Najee touched the ball 22 times last week, guys, and he had under 9 PPR points. It's just not viable for the most part. There will be weeks he'll be great, but Rachaad doesn't need a touchdown to be good. Najee does. That's the problem.
Yeah. Raul. So I give Pacheco for Worthy advice. Standard scoring.
We skipped Sun here.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Sun. Some AAA. We'll come back to you. No doubt about it. You said trade Kyren Williams, Godwin for Pacheco, Monty, and Zay. Kyren Williams, Godwin for Pacheco, Monty, and Zay. I'm okay with the Kyren Williams. I think there's two. We always say this. Context is important. Is this a start 10, start 11, start 7?
I'll be honest. I'm on the Pacheco side pretty heavily here.
I like Kyren over Pacheco. I'm just not a big. I would rather have right now Godwin over Zay. But yes, Monty is what is the question mark, and I think that's why I kind of went back to saying, what is that context? You know, if this is a smaller league, then maybe I would lean the Kyren Williams side.
Kyren is still look, based off what happened last week. If you just look at that alone, I'm not saying you are Badaki, but I'm just saying why I feel this way. If you just look at what happened last week alone for Kyren Williams, you'd be like, yeah, okay, he's a locked and loaded top 5 name. That's probably the case, but he was wildly inefficient. And after the game, McVay was very open in saying, we don't want that to be our game plan. We want Blake Corum in there. And I still feel like over the course of the season, we could see Corum eat into that role. Whereas with Pacheco, I just don't see how this dude isn't playing or getting 70% of the opportunities in that backfield, targets and carries over the course of the season, unless an injury happens to him. So I am going Pacheco. I don't personally feel like the upgrade rest of season is what you think it is with Kyren Williams' son. I'm speaking to him. So it would be Pacheco for me here.
No worries. Since I give up Pacheco for Worthy in standard scoring. In standard scoring, I would go Isaiah Pacheco. I think we both go Isaiah Pacheco on the standard scoring.
Absolutely.
There.
I think you got an absolute steal there, man.
Yeah, we love that one. Our next super chat here is Fam First, JMO or DK, Swift's on the bench, and then thoughts on Martin Harrison Jr. For me, I'm still going DK Metcalf. I know Jameson Williams was a fun and exciting. I think this is you like to party. I think JMO is you like to party week. If you like to party, you can start Jameson Williams, but for me, my ranking says DK Metcalf.
Yeah, if it was closer, I would be like, yeah, let's start JMO, but I've got DK 19. I've got Jameson at 31. Still love Jameson this week. Still think he's a great flex play, but not when you have an option like DK who had a bad week but could bounce back.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
And also, you know, it would be easier if Jameson wasn't dealing with that ankle injury, and he is. So I am going to go ahead and lean DK there. Tough matchup versus Christian Gonzalez, but you got to hope that he bounces back. Appreciate the donation. We got another donation here from Jamie. Appreciate y'all. Hey, guys, super chats do skip the queue. No pressure to donate, but of course, if you'd like to support the show, we will prioritize your question. And Jamie says, full PPR, Aaron Jones or Ridley. I'm already starting Justin Jefferson.
Gosh.
I'm going Aaron Jones.
I don't like either of these guys' matchups personally. I keep saying if you have Calvin Ridley, you don't have a better matchup. I'm going to be going Calvin Ridley, but like I get it. Aaron Jones there. Breece Hall scored 18 fantasy points this past week. Maybe they can get him the ball for Aaron Jones, but I think they're going to be a lot more bully-some to Sam Darnold this week. So
add it to the dictionary. Bully-some. I actually like it. I just don't want to start Calvin Ridley at all. I said that in today's video. I just have no interest in starting him. quite frankly, I don't even know if I'd have interest in starting him in a good matchup because I don't even know if Will Levis can get him the ball. But if Will Levis is your quarterback and you have a terrible matchup, it's just too much for me. It's too much. I appreciate the donation, Jamie. Failure, no option. Thanks for the donation. They say flex, choose one, Brian Thomas or McMillan. We're going Brian Thomas there for sure. Love McMillan, question. But he is the third option on that team where Brian has a chance to be the number one on that team. So purely based off status within the room and potential opportunities, you got to go Brian Thomas. Sir Yeti, thanks for the donation. He says trade Rashad, White, and Evans for Marvin and Kamara. Huh. I would want the Bucks here personally.
Exactly. I want White and Evan. Martin Harrison Jr. I mean, the expectation is there. I think we all know what he can do. We just haven't seen it yet. And Evans came out gunslinging with Baker Mayfield. I thought it would be a little bit different, but it looks like they picked up right where they left off last year. So give me Mike Evans and Rashad White. Thank you so much for that super chat there. Frags, he said trade London and Mason for CeeDee. I would do that trade. I want CeeDee Lamb every single day. And especially it's probably a good kind of, I guess it's a buy low moment for CeeDee. He only got 13 fantasy points. I don't think anyone's selling CeeDee on the low, but give me CeeDee Lamb there.
For me, I think this all comes down to how long CMC is actually out. Is this a situation where he's out until like week 13 or something crazy like that? Like, I don't think anyone has a good gauge on this. It's not like a normal injury where it's like, sprained MCL, we know he'll be back in 4 weeks. There's just so many questions here. If I knew Mason was a starter until week 10, I'd probably just prefer to keep him in London. But without knowing that information, you just go ahead and grab the superstar in CeeDee Lamb that you know that you have that security in. Thank you for the donation. Yeah. The next super chat here is from Delta Raven. Hey,
Delta Raven,
gotta be a Call of Duty player here. All right.
It's time to be a Call of Duty player.
I think so. 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 2 flexes. Thoughts on trading Godwin, Ford for Connor, Worthy, or Kirk? Definitely would prefer Worthy over Kirk. But thoughts on trading Godwin and Ford for Connor and Worthy? I would rather have Connor and Worthy here, and I'm a huge Godwin guy. But there's just a lot of upside with Xavier Worthy. His role could grow over the season. James Conner and Jerome Ford, if both of them stay healthy, I think James Conner outscores Jerome Ford. And I also think that Jerome Ford could lose his job. James Conner is going to have to be injured to lose his job.
Yeah, I agree. Give me James Conner and Xavier Worthy. Our next super chat here says half PPR start 2 Kirk, Charbonnet, and Pickens. This is Zach Charbonnet for sure. And Pickens versus Denver or Kirk versus Cleveland.
I'm going Charbonnet here, and I'm going George Pickens. Hate the matchup for Pickens versus Pat Surtain, but I know he is the alpha in his offense. Kirk, 4 targets. I mean, Kirk is reliant on those. It's almost like Wan'Dale Robinson with less targets. I don't mean to be rude, but like in that role, that's kind of what you're looking at almost.
That's very rude, actually.
You have a starting running back for the Seahawks and a clear wide receiver 1 in Pickens. Now, I can't promise you that Pickens is going to be a great matchup this week. I don't really like his matchup, but I think he's your best option.
I personally would say that my rankings is going to tell you George Pickens, but my heart is going to tell you Christian Kirk, because I think with the Browns secondary, they're going to be trying to lock up Brian Thomas Jr. and Christian Kirk plays that slot option, where maybe there's going to be some freedom in the middle, and that's just a vibe. That's not something that I can tell you is going to for sure happen. That's kind of how I'm feeling about it. So I'm saying, for me, Zach Charbonnet, George Pickens is my rankings, but my heart is telling me Christian Kirk there. But hopefully that helps.
One thing I wanted to mention is just I could see that happening. They got Greg Newsome on the outside. They've got Denzel Ward on the outside. But
so, yeah.
It'll just be interesting to see how they assignments each of them have. Jason, thanks for the donation. Hey guys, be a friend, smash that like button. We got a like goal today of 100 likes. With your help, I'm confident we can get there. Appreciate the love, appreciate the support. You guys have been showing love all season long. We got to update our graphic because clearly we're past 25K. You guys smashed that goal. You guys are awesome. We appreciate you. Subscribe, smash that like button. We are going to answer regular questions, we promise, but we're going in order. And if people are going to donate to us, we are obviously going to prioritize their questions. So super chats are available, not a priority, that are not a, you don't have to do it. But the next one is from Jason. Appreciate you, Jason. He says, standard scoring start 2, Gibbs, Henry, or Mason. Already have Kupp in my flex. All right, so for me in a standard scoring, I am probably not going to play Gibbs over these other names. We are going to go Henry and Mason. Now, Gibbs is the one of these names that could break away a 90-yard run. He really is. But purely based off volume and potential goal line opportunities, we saw David Montgomery get in there last game again. So I think Henry and Mason would be my choices here in a non-PPR format.
Yeah, I completely agree. Exactly. And same thing with, Derrick Henry. He got a goal line touch last week, even though it was technically a bad game. You kind of think that this is going to be a get-right game for Derrick Henry.
Oh, I love Derrick Henry this week, dude. So, where do you have him ranked this week?
Me too. Here, I'll tell you right now. I have him as RB10 for me right now.
He's 11 for me. I think he's a smash play. I really do.
Okay.
I love it.
Another
super chat here from Joe. Appreciate the donation. He says, Houston Nico scare. All indications are that Nico's playing, right? Or am I making that up in my mind?
I mean,
he's cleared.
I'll be honest. Yeah, I don't think there was anything serious about him, to be honest. But yes, he is cleared.
All he needed was some Dayquil. He had a little sniffle.
He'll get an IV. He'll probably play through his sickness regardless. He says also Deebo's Pickens, Aaron Jones in the flex. You got to pick one. For me, this is going to be Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, I agree. Cat Zaddy with the next donation. Start Ridley or Brian Thomas. I'm going Brian Thomas here. Hate both of their matchups, but I hate Ridley's more. And I also feel like 4 targets from Trevor Lawrence is much more valuable than 8 from Will Levis, as fortunate as that is to say. I mean, there was a big question this offseason, like betting on the Titans receivers is betting on Will Levis. How do you feel about that after week 1, Badaki? Like in general, if you bet on if you were out there and you bet on a Titans receiver, how are you feeling after watching Will Levis after week 1?
Look, it's not the best feeling, but I think there's hope. I don't think like it's completely over. In my opinion,
that it couldn't get any worse than that. Is that the hope?
It's the hope that, I mean, sure. It's the hope that Calvin really got 7 targets, and if he catches out of one game, like let's just say he can average, just a little bit over half of those targets, or actually catching those targets, I think that's okay. Like if he catches 4 targets,
you know what that sounds like to me? 4
targets and a touchdown, that's fine.
That sounds like DJ Moore with Sam Darnold and Carolina. That sounds awful. Okay, I do not like that. We'll have to wait and see.
I'm believing.
Maybe there's more hope.
This week is not the best either for him, but yes.
Next super chat here is from Brandy. Appreciate the donation, Brandy. Start Pollard or wait on Brown in full PPR? Yeah.
On Brown? Like
as an AJ Brown.
As an AJ Brown? Right. Okay. I was a little bit confused. I thought maybe like Chase Brown, because I know like Zach Moss is a little bit in question, but he said he is ready to go now. And that has to be a call that you will do. For me, I will wait on AJ Brown tomorrow morning. If the report's saying AJ Brown's going to play, I'm going to be starting AJ Brown.
So there is this element to the AJ Brown questions today, guys. Let's just say this right now. If you have AJ Brown and you're asking a question, we will give you our opinion. But I want you guys to know that like this AJ Brown situation is very much like, can you predict the future? And that is tough for us to do. So my inclination is that I am concerned because it was a new injury, but there are reports out there that say he's going to be okay. There are reports out there that are saying that he might miss the game. So it's going to have to be a gut call. But Badaki's right. You need to stay so closely tuned to the news and to the beat reporters and to Rappaport and everyone to see what the status is on AJ Brown. I bet that there will be a report before you have to make this decision. So
I think so as well.
But if there is no report, I think I just had to throw Pollard out there and hope for the best. I really, really do.
Yeah.
Next donation is from Solvable C. So, full PPR,
Yeah.
10-man, start Fields or Anthony Richardson. I'm going Anthony Richardson. Guys.
Agreed.
He completed 9 passes last week and was still one of the best quarterbacks in fantasy football. This dude's a cheat code. He really is.
No, that's actually not okay.
It's like Justin Fields, but he took steroids his entire life.
2 league, flex, 1 PPR. So Aaron Jones or Ford. This one would be Aaron Jones. Even much as I like Ford. 2 is Connor, Mason, Ford, Stevenson, Amari Cooper, Gus, McConkey. So choose one out of these guys. This will be Mason for me. I have Mason higher than all these guys. Where do you have Mason? Where do you have Mason on the week?
Yeah, I got Mason as my RB8 this week.
Yeah, so I'm there with you. I have RB8 as well. Okay.
It'd be tough to find a name I wouldn't start him over. But
I mean, I think the only one like that is I would question in a PPR would be Amari Cooper. Like, I'm not starting James Conner over him, Jerome Ford, Stevenson, Gus, Gus or McConkey. That's where I'm leaning. Do you get what I'm saying?
I don't think we have to answer that question, though.
Maybe.
We just have to give him one answer and then Amari Cooper or DK. So you're going DK is what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm going DK.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. My bad.
Okay.
By the way, this is a great example of a team who needs to consolidate. You have way too many options. Way too many options. The fact that you have... By the way, I'm starting James Conner over Aaron Jones and Jerome Ford. Just to clarify. Like, you're giving me James Conner as an option here. Maybe that's a different league. But I am starting James Conner over Aaron Jones and Jerome Ford. But if you're telling me you have to pick one name in Conner, Mason, Ford, Stevenson, Cooper, Gus, and McConkey, you have to consolidate. What does that mean? That means we take... Jerome Ford and we package him with McConkey and we go out and we get a superstar running back or wide receiver. It's just you're going to get wrong so often every week. Too many good options.
Yeah.
Jan with the next donation says league mate is willing to trade me Cup for Devonta Smith and Ladd. Give me Cup in a heartbeat here. Not even close.
No. Yeah. I want Cooper Cup there.
From Switzerland, by the way.
Yeah. Appreciate you. Calvin Ridley or Tyler Johnson.
Go ahead. Sorry. It's Jan here. It's Jan, by the way.
Jan.
So shout out to Jan from Switzerland.
Jan Whitman. Calvin Ridley or Tyler Johnson. I'm still going Calvin Ridley here, but I completely understand why Tyler Johnson is a favorable play with, obviously Puka being out on IR. I'm still gonna lean Calvin here.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is digging too far into your bag to not play Ridley. I can dig pretty far into that bag, but eventually we're getting, you know how your mom's purse, you would just search for gum or something, and then you'd get to the bottom of the bag and it's just old wrappers, and it's just like she spit her gum in that, and the wrappers just, forgot to put it in the trash can. That's where you're looking at right now. So, yeah, that's too far into the bag. Of course, I can't predict what would happen there, but yeah, I would say Calvin Ridley would have to be your option there. I'm sorry. Good luck. I hope I'm wrong in that video I released today. Hey, guys, super chats do skip the queue. Otherwise, we're going in order. And the next question is from Duck Fan Dane. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for supporting the channel here. He says, Yoshi, Downs, Michael Wilson, Douglas, or Reynolds start 1. Is Downs going to play?
It's Downs. That's what I was about to say. Let's see. Downs. He says ankle questionable to play. Interesting. For me, this would be, out of all these guys, I like Yoshi and then Michael Wilson. I'm just double checking if I'm going to put Wilson or Yoshi. I think I do have Yoshi higher.
Yeah, wow. This is rough. I mean, Michael Wilson catches the touchdown, doesn't do anything else last week. He might be more needed this week. Yoshi
gets the targets though out of all these guys. I would think.
Does he though?
How many targets does Douglas? Well, out of the names here, like he led this group that with out of targets, the guy that all the players that he named here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to chase the targets, and I'm going to go Andre Yeshivas, especially. It's going to be a tough matchup against Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
Actually, Josh Reynolds led this group, in targets of these names.
That's what I was going to say is, you look at Reynolds with no Devon Vele, he becomes pretty interesting to me.
playing the Steelers though. Steelers locked down the
Yeah, he
the
becomes interesting,
secondary
but
last
not
week though.
enough to make this call where you play him over
Yeah.
Yeshivas. So I'm gonna go Yeshivas. Hey guys, unfortunately we've gotten to the part of the stream where I have to put some people in timeout. I'm sorry, I don't want to do it, but if you're in the chat right now and you're spamming your question and you're just making the chat so long and hard to read, then I'm sorry, we're gonna have to put you in timeout. I don't want to do that, but if you can't be patient, then I'm sorry. We're trying to get to everybody's questions. Your question is not more valuable than anybody else's question. Donations are available if you want to get your question prioritized. We love you. We appreciate you. But, like, no one likes that guy. I'm sorry. You just spamming your question in the chat makes me not want to answer it. I'll be honest with you. We haven't said that yet on stream. It does not make me want to answer your question if you're going to spam it over and over and over and over.
Just don't be that guy, huh? Okay. Or what you can do, to be completely honest and blunt, just donate respectfully. You don't have to, but just donate if you want to answer questions.
Yeah,
your question's answered.
We will answer questions in order, and
but we will get to your questions.
We'll get to it. You just got to be patient. Otherwise, the people who are supporting us, we're going to get to them first. Hopefully that is okay. If that's not too blunt, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jason for becoming a member. Very kind of you, man.
Oh yeah, we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Next one's from Chris. Go ahead.
Chris, yeah, says, hey guys, yeah, helped me with my fantasy last year. That's amazing. I'm glad you won. Says I have Nico and Brown as main wide receivers. Got Brees, Cook at running back. Looking for flex. Ayuk, Dobbins, Harrison, McLaurin. This is gonna be Brandon Ayuk for me.
Yeah.
I know. It's probably between Ayuk and Harrison, which is
no, it's not for me. It's Ayuk. It's very clearly Ayuk for me.
Okay.
Didn't have much, belief in Ayuk last week. He was someone I was looking to sit in some formats, but this week I think it's a great bounce back versus Minnesota. I feel much better about him. Another week of practice. And by the way, Nico Collins is already in his starting lineup, so we're not choosing between him and Nico. Another question here is from Fab. Appreciate the donation, man. Thanks for supporting the channel. Half PPR, flex Dell or Pollard. Lineup is Stroud, Hill, Pittman, London, Mason, Jacobs, McBride. Bench is Dell, Pickens, Reed, Warren, Cooks, and Lazard. What you thinking here, bro? Dell or Pollard?
Tank Dell.
Yeah. I didn't know if the half PPR was going to sway you at all.
I just think it's a tough matchup for Tony Pollard against the Jets. I'm not loving that. I think we kind of both said it earlier this week that this could be a Tajay Spears game with the targets.
Yeah.
And this is a big bounce back game for the Jets as well. They didn't like the way they started last week, so I think they're gonna play a lot of bully ball this week.
I'm gonna rock with you there with Tank Dell. He tied the team for leading in targets, so that's very, very encouraging moving forward. You know what we should do is we should make someone a moderator that's a member with us on the Flock Fantasy site, like Styles or someone like that, who's always in the chat.
Yeah,
we probably do need a moderator.
I think it's just hard because we don't. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about it.
Duck
thank you
fan,
so much
by the way.
Chat. Yeah,
16 team. That doesn't change the answer, but I appreciate the context for sure, man. Jason with his super chat here, appreciate you. He says, looking who to start at second running back spot, Jameson, Zamir, or Madison. I hate it, but I'm gonna go with Jameson Williams. Really not a fan.
Javonte Williams.
Sorry, Javonte. Really not a fan of these other options. I don't want to start Raider running backs this week if I can help it.
Yeah, completely agree. I'm going Javonte Williams there as well. Summer. Let me know if I said that right. I'm really interested. Tony Pollard or Zay Flowers. This one would be Zaza for me. What do you think? I think it's tough. It's not a tough matchup. And the thing is, it's not a tough matchup. I think the game script, what we're predicting is that this is going to be a get right Derrick Henry game. There's going to be a lot of rushing opportunities. This team should be up early, and Zay Flowers probably won't be needed in this game. Where Tony Pollard is going against the Jets, where you kind of just expect them to shut that down.
Yeah,
that's the tough part about this question.
My concern is the same in the sense of, will they need Zay Flowers? That's really my question. I mean, is this a game? Think about what just happened with the Bills. I could see that happening with the Ravens this week with the Raiders. Like, you're going into the second half and you do not need to throw the ball. It's a little concerning. So I would lean Tony Pollard here a little bit, but we could be playing way too much chess when we should be playing checkers. I am going to lean Tony Pollard myself.
Unless the Jets' run defense is just going to be terrible this year. But, like, to be fair, they were facing one of the best offensive line.
Their run defense wasn't that good last year either. It's just their secondary was locked down. But anyway, I am going to go Tony. I just think he'll touch the ball too many times.
I agree. Gears Gaming, thank you so much. He said standard game, start, sit, Aaron, Rodgers, Mayfield, Purdy. Well, in the standard,
rocking with Purdy.
Yeah, I'm going Brock Purdy. I don't think that's that big of a difference there. Kyle, thank you so much for the super chat.
Very close between those names, I would say, by the way. So I think that's a fair question, but I would slightly lean Purdy. Just the better offense overall in San Francisco.
Yeah. Ingram or Goddard with Brown questionable for me. This would be Ingram. Still, even if AJ Brown doesn't play, that's what I would say.
Yeah, I think you're right, but the logic does make sense in the question.
It does.
And
of Goddard
if AJ Brown is out, Goddard could be featured.
I just feel like they would just probably lean on Saquon even more, but that's where I could be wrong.
Yeah. No, I think I do lean as well with Ingram, but I think it's a very fair question. All right, next super chat, guys. Super chats do skip the queue for you. Otherwise, we'll go in order when these super chats stop. If they do stop, I mean, you guys are being awesome. Thanks for the donations. But we got a super chat from Hamey. Says, Yeshivas Lazard Wilson. We had a similar question earlier. Knowing that Lazard, there is a range of outcome with Lazard where he can score a touchdown is interesting.
Well, the reason why I'm a little bit hesitant, I don't know if you saw the report of like Mike Williams.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
say. Was limited in snaps for last week, and they're gonna ramp him up again.
Mm-hmm.
So, I personally would go Yeshiva still, but I didn't know where you were gonna go.
This is the situation you find yourself in right here, unfortunately. I would still go Yeshivas there. You just have to hope that offense was just not functioning, and hopefully, they can get back on track versus Kansas City, which is crazy to say. That has to be your hope there. That's really tough. Appreciate the donations. The next one is from Young Rula. He says, half PPR, Hayden Hurst or Juwan Johnson. All right, we got another coffin baby hydrogen bomb question here. Who are you going with? And what I'm more interested in is you're trying to make a case for either of these names. So go ahead.
I mean, close your eyes, pick one. I don't like any. Can you pick up Colby Parkinson? Like, can you pick up somebody else? I would honestly pick up Cole Kmet. Go pick up Gerald Everett. Like somebody else because Eden Allen Conklin. And Mike. Yeah, somebody. Because I don't want to start either of these guys.
Luke Schoonmaker is one of my favorite desperation tight end plays this week. So if he's out there for anyone, assuming that Jake Ferguson doesn't play. But yeah, I would slightly lean Juwan Johnson. Why? Because he's already scored a touchdown, so it's possible. So yeah, that's my rationale behind that. But I am so sorry. That is rough. Good luck.
That is rough.
Wayne from Wayne Enterprises here. Appreciate you, Wayne. Thanks for supporting the channel. Thanks for the donation. He says
Range Riskowski. You just sound like a hockey player.
I could see that. Should I start Mason over Henry or Mixon? I'm starting Mason over Henry. I'm not starting him over Mixon, though. I got Mixon as a locked and loaded top 6 play. Just that much volume, knowing it's possible, is hard to say no to. Love Henry, but yeah, this is the first time I think this entire week I've said I would sit Henry, which is crazy.
Yeah, this is tough. Yeah, I want to start all these guys, but I agree. Like, I have Mason over Henry as well.
Imagine Derrick Henry in that offense.
Can you flex? I think the real question here, Wayne, is who are you flexing? because I want to start all these guys this week. Like if your flex is like a Michael Pittman or like a wide receiver that we're probably not in love with, you have three top 10 must start running backs this week that I would rather start. But maybe that's just a deeper
question. Might be like
there.
a 8 or 10 team league, start 7 or something. But yeah. I would be interested if, you know, I would be interested if you could potentially package one of these names and upgrade somewhere else. But yeah, that's our answer. We appreciate the donation, man. We got a super chat here from DT. Thanks for the donation. He says, start 3, JT, Gibbs, Mason, Chase, DJ Moore. Keep up the great work. Appreciate you, man. Start 3, full
Mason
PPR.
Chase for sure. Mason, Chase, and Gibbs.
Yeah, Mason, Chase, and Gibbs. I agree.
Yeah, those are the
JT could be the, and you have to say that, recognizing that JT could be the RB1 overall this week in that matchup. It is possible.
Yeah,
if Malik Willis is as bad as he's always been in his career, there's a high chance JT is a top 6 scorer this week. But the unfortunate reality is you just have so many good names. I wish I was in that position. I wish I had to make that call. But that's the way we would lean. And by the way, the reason we're saying that is because JT, there's just very limited PPR upside. You're in a PPR league, right? He had no targets last week. Richardson is going to rush the ball a lot. He's not going to look to dump the ball off. With Gibbs, we know he'll get those targets. With Mason, we just know his workload in that offense. And Chase, we just can't sit Jamar Chase. Appreciate the donation, man. Scott, thanks for the donation. Scott says, love the info. Quarterback start, Goff or Daniels. I'm going Jaden Daniels this week. Love Goff as well. Great matchup for him. But seeing what Jaden Daniels is capable of as a fantasy asset makes him a must start for me.
Yeah, I have Jaden Daniels over Goff this week. Very close, but I can understand the question. Gears Gaming says, I have Dolphins defense. Do I drop for waivers?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Dunzo, brother. Sounds terrible.
To be honest, like, it's not even that they're not going to be a good play. It's just that you can stream options every week with defenses. And you do not want to keep a defense that you haven't played. Let me just say this for anyone out there who is deploying this strategy. Please do not roster 2 defenses. I'm begging you. You might accidentally miss out on rostering the next handcuff running back. That's a starter that everyone's going to be bidding on in waivers. The next, breakout wide receiver or tight end. So never roster 2 defenses. I'm begging you. Thank you for the donation, Gears Gaming.
It's Charlie that's next. Charlie Lewis. He says flex Flowers or Worthy this week. This is Worthy.
Is it?
For me, after I kind of was looking ahead, I had my rankings before with Zay Flowers higher. I moved Xavier Worthy up just because this is a high upside play. Once again, going back to that game script that we kind of spoke about earlier, where is Flowers going to be needed? Worthy could be more needed in this offense than Flowers.
Well, maybe.
But
the Bengals scored 10 points versus the Patriots last week.
Exactly. At the end of the day, they still have Joe Burrow. The Raiders have Gardner Minshew. So I'm going to say let's have some fun. Let's party with Xavier Worthy.
I think Xavier Worthy is a party pick, but I am going to go Zay Flowers here. I just think he is the safer name. Xavier Worthy might touch the ball 3 times. If that doesn't turn into a touchdown, I think, we could have some concerns. And you're 100% correct in saying he's the upside play. I 100% agree. But I just think you have an option that could, like we saw last week, get 10 targets. So
I can understand that.
Definitely am concerned about the game script and how the game could play out. But I do feel like Zay Flowers is the responsible play. But Xavier Worthy is the party pick for sure. I can see that.
Yeah, no question. Kyle, thank you so much for the super chat here. He says Cup JSN in a 25 first for Gibbs Hyatt in a 25 second. Who won?
Where's that first going to be? Is that an early first? Because this is a dynasty question, clearly. And if that's an early first, then I want the side of Cup and JSN. If that's a late projected first, then I want the Gibbs side.
Gibbs side. Yeah, I completely agree there. Just Chromes, he says full PPR, Goddard or Parkinson. This is where I will go Parkinson. I think this is a high upside play. I understand Goddard with the whole AJ Brown being out. I do believe he plays. Give me Parkinson here.
Yeah, I'm going to go Parkinson regardless of if AJ's in there or not. I just think he's a really great option this week. You know, what happens in a game when a guy like Puka goes down is you adjust. What can we do right now in this game to try and win? We're going to target Cooper Kupp 21 times. As I have Cooper Kupp everywhere, but I don't think he's going to get 21 targets again, right? I think Colby Parkinson's going to be a huge part of this game plan in week 2, so I would rock with him as well. Tapman says, do we have faith in Higgy coming back? Frustrating.
Sure. I mean, he's going to come back. Yeah, he's going to come back. We just don't know when. I think that's the biggest question there, which is really frustrating.
You'd have to assume it is next week, right? Because otherwise they would have put him on the IR.
No, the thing is, like, he hasn't practiced at all. He hasn't practiced since like, if you told me this week, he was like, okay, he practiced on Wednesday. He didn't practice Thursday. He was very limited on Friday, but he's still doubtful. Really good chance next week. Don't see that
Friday then.
Like, what is happening there?
It's very confusing. It is not the best draft pick as of right now if you took Higgins. I think he's going to play soon because otherwise I just feel like they would have put him on the IR, but that's just speculation. So we'll have to wait and see. My thing is, if he has a really good game when he comes back, I'd be open to shopping him pretty quickly. Glockula, thank you for the donation. Start Goddard or Metcalf.
Godwin.
I'm going to start, right? Yeah, Godwin or Metcalf, yeah.
I'm going DK still.
Yeah. Man.
It's a great question, though.
Yeah. Every time I get a question about Godwin, I am like, you know what? I like Godwin more. This is one of those scenarios.
Like, yeah, it's like heart or head, like heart or rankings, really. It's like,
yeah. Where do you have Godwin ranked this week? Because this is going to be interesting.
I have him wide receiver 25.
Okay.
I have the likes of like Tank Dell. I still have Drizzy over him. I have DJ Moore over him.
Yeah.
I even have Stephon Diggs over him.
He's my wide receiver 18. Wild. I'm going Godwin.
Do you have DJ Moore over him?
Nope.
Okay. Interesting. Hopefully that helps. Glockula. Mitch.
We also have to answer Andrews or Pat Fry. I mean, we would rock with Mark Andrews here. Yeah, I just want to clarify, like, as much as I love DJ Moore, we are shitting on Will Levis a lot this week. Why are we not doing the same to Caleb Williams? I mean, he looked just as worse, if not just like, you know what I mean?
There's a difference. Like, he did look bad, but like when he was rolling and throwing that ball in space, when he was throwing dots. No. And then there was other times it would be wide open and it was like, okay, like, what's going on? But I think that game could have been completely different if Keenan actually caught that touchdown.
Sure,
like his outlook would have just been like, okay, like at least he threw a touchdown. And
I don't know. I mean, if you look at these guys, if you look at their games back to back, why are we not being more harsh towards Caleb Williams? Like, genuine question. I mean, let's look at the box score here.
Ultimately hated Will Levis. They also hated Caleb Williams, to be honest.
Caleb Williams completed 14 of 29 passes, and like, yeah, he missed on that. Like, Keenan Allen should have caught that touchdown, but that was not an inaccurate representation of his game. Completely inconsistent. Will Levis, yeah, he was shit. We know that, but he had a better completion percentage than Caleb Williams. So I like DJ Moore, especially because he should get.
You believe in Will Levis?
No, that should not at all be anyone's takeaway. All right, next question is from Money Mitch, who says, "Who do I flex, Evans or Ayuk? Gotta play Evans. Can't sit him, in my opinion."
Yeah, I completely agree there. Jonathan, he said PPR 1 running back and 2 flex. So pick, I'm assuming 3. Moore, Dobbins, Stevenson, and Ford. I'm sitting Jerome Ford.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. Hey, guys, we don't want to do it, but if you guys are going to spam questions in the chat, we are going to have to put you in timeout. Just no one likes that guy, okay? We don't want to be that guy. We got to put you in timeout and say, hey, think about what you've done. We'll let you back in the room in 5 minutes, but stop spamming in the chat, okay? Nobody likes that. What's the next question here?
Next question is from Saul Hernandez, maybe.
Yes.
Dobbins, Godwin, London, or Aaron Jones, in a flex spot.
I'm going Godwin, baby.
Yeah, I have London over Godwin, but it makes sense.
Yeah. I actually think the matchup for Godwin is really favorable. Like, I think the Godwin matchup is every recipe you want for fantasy success. You got a team on the opposite side in the Detroit Lions who are going to score points on you. You've got a secondary on Detroit that is definitely vulnerable. I don't know. I think it's a recipe for success and a high over under.
And look, I'll definitely say this. Say this about Drake London. This is his last chance for me. Okay. I said that in our Fantasy Never Stops short channel. He needs to get minimum of like 14 points, 6 or 7 targets. Like, just show me life. Show me life. And if not, if he shows that, then I'm really happy to continue to move forward because that means there's progress. If not, I mean, yeah, I can understand why Chris Godwin is the guy. But yes, we appreciate
a super chat from David, but there is no question. So David, let us know. I don't see any question from him. We got a super chat from Glockula. Flex Zach Moss or Najee. I'm going Zach Moss. How about you?
Yep, I completely agree.
All right. Isaiah says 12-team PPR running back room is Mixon, Singletary, Brooks on IR. He says, would you package wide receiver plus Singletary for CMC or wait for Brooks? I'll be honest, guys. At this, like, if that wide receiver is McLaurin, sure. If you can package Terry McLaurin and Devin Singletary for CMC, absolutely. But not if you have to give up Kupp Wilson or Justin Jefferson. Right now, they're like, if this injury happened in like week 6 and you already had a good chance of making the playoffs because you were like 5-1, sure. But how can anyone afford to have CMC on their roster right now, knowing you won't have him for at least the next 4 weeks? It's tough to stomach that.
Yeah. I completely agree. Roger Stark, thank you so much. He says one flex.
This is Tony's dad, by the way.
Flex start standard. JSN, White, Marcus Robinson, or Shaheed. So that's the first part of the question.
Yeah, this would be D-Rob for me.
I agree. Marcus Robinson. Trade Rachaad White and Olave for Neighbors and Connor.
Yeah, I'd rather have Neighbors and Connor rest of the season.
Yeah, I actually think this is an even trade. As much as I don't love Chris Olave, I think Rachaad White and Connor cancel each other out, and I think Neighbors and Olave cancel each other out. So, in my opinion, I think pick your poison. I do lean the Neighbors and Connor side because I'm not a big believer in that Olave offense, but that's hard to say with Neighbors on the Giants. Drop Goddard. I have Bowers. Sure. I would say this: you can drop him if you want, but I would just keep him just in case, just to see if he does play a big role this week without AJ Brown. Maybe you can sell them high if that does come true.
What I would say is, if you are considering dropping Goddard, I assume you're in a smaller league. But if you aren't, if you're still in like a 12-team league, shop him because people are desperate for a tight end that even looks like a starter.
I mean, think about it. Drake Ferguson not playing, David Njoku not playing. I mean, you have people in question of Mark Andrews, Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. Tim Brooks, how you doing, brother? Appreciate the super chat, bros. Metcalf or Flowers? We would both go DK Metcalf there, and then Terry McLaurin or Zach Charbonnet, which is a great question.
I'm going Charbonnet personally.
I'm going Charbonnet as well.
Reason being is just he's going to touch the ball a ton. So
exactly, completely agree. I appreciate that super chat.
Just a heads up, guys. Super chats do skip the queue. They get your question answered straight away. Otherwise, we are going in order. We appreciate the love, appreciate the support. The next question is from Young Rula. Says, which defense? Broncos?
No, Iron Cross, sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Iron Cross is first, my bad. Rate this trade. Traded Mason and Jason for Ayuk. This genuinely all comes down to your league format. If you're telling me this is an 8-team start 7 league, then I want the Ayuk side of this. If you're telling me this is a 14-team start 9, I think you want Mason and JSN. So
you want the depth. So I would agree. Give me Ayuk.
Yeah. What does WDIS mean? Who do I start maybe at flex? Pittman,
Yeah,
Ramondre. I'm going
who do I
Ramondre
start?
there.
Who do I say? Yeah, I'm going Ramondre Stevenson as well. I
Yeah.
appreciate you, Young Rula. Thank you so much for being patient. He said which defense, Broncos or the Saints? Broncos or Saints or Chicago? Out of all these guys, I would be going the Broncos. Don't love it. I don't love the Pittsburgh. I don't love Pitt versus. Sorry, I don't love the Saints versus Dallas, and I don't love Chicago versus Houston. But there has to be other options that are better, surely.
Yeah, these feel like pretty bad options, to be honest. I don't think I'd have any of those top 12.
No, I mean, you can definitely go a couple different routes if you really wanted
Chargers
to.
at Panthers, Colts at Packers, Seahawks at Patriots, Texans versus the Bears.
Yeah, I agree.
Eagles versus the Falcons. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree there. Panther, appreciate the super chat. He says PPR, waiting in hope on AJ Brown or start Brian Thomas Jr. or drop one of Taysom Hill or Palmer for Mooney and Dotson. So this is a great question. We kind of said I personally be waiting for AJ Brown to see what happens, and we don't love the match for Brian Thomas Jr. So I would be dropping Taysom Hill because I don't believe in him, and I don't think he's going to be this guy that everyone is hoping for. I would either pick up Mooney or Dotson and just give yourself insurance just in case he doesn't start.
Yeah, so I feel pretty confident in saying if a report comes out by the time the 1 p.m. slate games start that AJ Brown is likely to play, then you don't make this move. But I would say you can drop Taysom, pick up Mooney, and just wait for AJ Brown. I'd feel comfortable doing that either way. So either way, we're going to wait on AJ Brown there. I'm just going to go to the bathroom real quick. There are no more super chats. So why don't you just see the first question that you can reply to? I'll be right back.
Okay. The first question that I can see, guys, we're going to go in order. It gets to a point where we can't see all the questions up top. So the first question that I can see is from Shawan, I think. It says Josh Palmer or Jalen Naylor. It'll be Josh Palmer for the both of us. And then Reader Allen says Godwin or London. My rankings say London. I know Zach's rankings say Godwin. So hopefully that helps. What's happened to WG, our boy, our land boys found an infinity money glitch. Hey, we appreciate you guys for all the super chats. Honestly, we wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. So it's been pretty awesome that you guys been donating and doing all the super chats. But yes, if you guys want to skip the queue, we are going to go in order of these questions that we can see. We can answer all your questions. If not, we are going in order. Ronnie, he says Eagles or Texans defense. This is a great question. I personally would be going with the Eagles. Kirk Cousins historically hasn't been good on primetime, but this is a new Kirk Cousins, right? But the Houston Texans defense is a great defense. I'm starting them in one of my leagues. So hopefully that helps. And I think, with the Bears and Caleb Williams, you kind of expect them to be struggling, especially without Keenan Allen, without Rome Odunze. So I personally will lean the Eagles, but once again, from my own experience, I have the Texans. 369 for AJ Brown pivot. Who is the first priority between Ray McLeod, Mooney, or Dotson? For me, this will be Darnell Mooney, then Dotson, then Ray McLeod. I think Darnell Mooney obviously has a really good connection with Kirk Cousins, but look, hey, this is a shot in the dark. We have no idea what that's going to look like for some people. But we saw 3 targets. He played 95% of the snaps. Does he get a little bit more opportunity coming into this week? Pump and dump. He says, hey guys, full PBR. Should I flex Romeo Doubs, Adonai Mitchell, or Andre Yeshivas this week, or maybe even Bucky Irving? Out of all these guys, this would be... Let me just triple check here, because I know it is really close with Adonai and Andre Yeshivas. But for me, this would be... Got to go down all the way down to my rankings here. This would be Adonai Mitchell. I do have Adonai Mitchell over Andre Yeshivas.
What if Downs plays?
If Downs plays, this is Andre Yeshivas.
All right, I like it. We did get a super chat here from Saul. So Saul is skipping the queue with this donation. Appreciate you, man. He says, should I sit Garrett Wilson or Kyren Williams over Dobbins? No, I'd play both Wilson and Kyren Williams over J.K. Dobbins.
I completely agree.
But I appreciate the donation, guys. Super chats do skip the queue. Otherwise, we're going in order from top to bottom. The first question I can see is from Dev. Thoughts on Charbonnet this week?
Yeah.
He's a fine play, top 24 name. Have you already answered that?
No, that was the next question. So that's perfect.
Okay. Jay Tinner says, would you trade Derrick Henry for CMC? I have Mason. Yeah, I think I would rather have CMC, but honestly, no. Like, bro, you can start Mason and Derrick Henry for the next 5 weeks, probably. Why would you not just win every week? You know?
Yeah, just win every week and you're chilling. So that's what I would say. I would just wait and hold there, Jay Tinner. We did get a super chat for Young Rula. Appreciate you. He says, I pick up Broncos defense because the lowest over under this week, but I can also get Texans or Eagles and pick up Hurts to stream tight end. But I feel game script is better for Jawan. Okay. I mean, yeah, I would personally pick up the Texans or Eagles. Like I said, I don't know if you heard earlier. I have Eagles higher, but I do like the Texans defense with them struggling with the weapons without Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, and Caleb Williams is ultimately going to be making mistakes as a rookie. So I would personally, I'm personally starting the Texans in my league, but I can understand having the Eagles with Kirk Cousins playing in prime time.
Look, I think this is one of those scenarios where you are making a gut call, and if that's your gut, you should go with it, because truly, the least predictable position in fantasy is defense. Like, it's genuine. No one freaking knows what's going to happen any given week. We can look at matchups and we can target them, but ultimately, if you have a gut call, I do honestly think you should roll with that. But as far as the tight end,
Hurts to stream tight end, but feel
yeah, we would both, we both said Juwan there, so we would both still go Juwan. Just we saw him get into the end zone already, so that's our rationale behind it.
Yeah,
appreciate you, bro. Thanks for the donation. We did get another one here from Jay Garcia, so he is also skipping the queue. And this is his first donation, by the way, so shout out to Jay Garcia.
Thank you so much.
10-team standard, start 3, Ford, Mason, Mixon, Stevenson, Dobbins. Start 3. For me, this is Mason, this is Mixon, and this is Dobbins in a
standard league.
Yeah,
I agree.
PPR, that would have gone Stevenson, but
Stevenson touched the ball 25 times though.
Is he going to be in a positive game script again?
Sure, I completely understand. I'm just throwing that out there.
I get
Seattle. It. He's playing Seattle, but no one was expecting him to touch the ball 25 times. I don't even think he touched the ball over 20 times.
Well, this is the Stevenson that we knew from 2 years ago, where he got literally everything. And that's the Stevenson that people drafted last year, but Zeke played an important part, and that was annoying for them. But he's back to Mr. Do-It-All,
Yeah, but thank you so much, Jay Garcia. We really appreciate you guys. If you guys want to skip the queue, all you have to do is drop a super chat. If not, we're going in order. And the one I can see is Cali Country.
I can't see that, but go ahead.
This is, should I start Lad, depending on who you have? Joe, he says Aaron Jones or Debo. I'm in a flex half PPR. I'm still going Debo and half PPR. Addy in a PPR, who would y'all start for one running back in a flex? Brian Robinson, Dobbins, Ford, Pickens, Reed. Pick one. This will be Reed still for me.
I can't see the question, so I'm just gonna rock with you.
Okay. Maybe we should pick off where you see.
The first question I can see is from Markin Souls, who says Palmer or Demarcus Robinson. I go Demarcus Robinson there.
Palmer or Demarcus Robinson. I'm going Palmer there. Continue.
Okay. Over D-Rob?
Yeah.
Okay. Eric says, which side, A or B, full PPR, Superflex, Adams, Ramondre, or Robinson Jr. and Reed? Adams and Ramondre, I think, pretty comfortably there for me.
For Eric? I'm just so lost. Okay, yes. Adams and Ramondre, yes. I agree. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Half PPR, Dobbins, Marvin, or Charbonnet. I'm going Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, agreed.
Olave or Dell. I would go Olave, but it's very close with Tank Dell there. Brian Thomas or Deontay Johnson. I'll go Brian because I like to party.
Yep.
Archman doing his thing.
I mean, he is doing his thing. I actually watched that play.
Yeah, what should I do with Tua in Dynasty? I think he's a strong hold. Look, if you sell him now, what are you going to get? A second-round pick? Maybe.
Yeah, I'm holding.
A third-round pick? If you hold him and he starts to play again, which no one really knows if he will or will not, then you will have totally undersold him. Now, obviously, if he retires, you would have wished you had that second round pick. So it really all comes down to your conviction on what he'll do. I don't have a strong conviction to make that move.
I agree.
Nick the Kick says, who do I start? Mason, Hall, Singletary, Collins, Olave, Thomas Jr., Flowers, Ayuk, Allen.
I mean, is this like your lineup or start one out of all these guys?
2 flexes.
Okay, 2 flexes.
So if that's Breece Hall, like you're definitely starting Breece Hall. If that's
Breece Hall and Nico Collins for me.
What about Jordan Mason?
Collins... Yeah, that's true.
I would start Mason over Collins.
You start Mason and Hall, yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely agree.
Harrison or Dell? I'm going Marvin Harrison.
Agreed.
No worries, Brendan. We did talk about it at the very beginning of the stream. You can go back and watch if you like. But he says, I have Lab McConkey. I could play, or do I wait and pick up Ray? Yeah, this is a scenario where I would be willing to wait and pick up Ray, personally.
Yeah. You got to make that gut call, I think, coming into this year. Ryan, he said Devontae Adams or 25 second. I would be okay getting that second. I don't think you can get anything more, especially once the season comes to a close. So when now
he's
Adams
getting the second, or getting Devontae Adams.
He's getting Adams.
That's a fair price to pay if you're a win now team. I would be comfortable with that.
Yeah, I agree there.
PJ says, what receiver upgrade should I aim with DJ Moore and Marvin Harrison, or keep them both? My wide receivers are Amon-Ra and Nico. Man, that's all going to come down to what your league thinks of those 2 names. Like, Badaki and I could have an opinion on DJ Moore and Marvin Harrison. They could be completely different, and the same could be said for your league. So it all comes down to these people. Put them on the trade block, see what offers come through. But unless you're in a very, 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 very small league, I wouldn't imagine trading both of those names away for one. I mean, DJ and Marvin, does that get you to Jamar Chase or Amon-Ra or Kupp? I don't know, but I wouldn't, for the most part, unless it's a very small league, make that move. We did get a super chat from Carlton. So Carlton is skipping the queue here with this donation. If you guys want to skip the queue, super chat is an option for you. No obligation, but it does skip the queue. This is his first super chat, so we appreciate you, man. He says, standard PPR league, 10-team receivers to start and flex. So I guess we're choosing 2 here, right? Start and flex. Marvin Harrison, Debo, Pittman, Robinson, Worthy, and Terry. So for me, if the question is start 2, it would be Marvin Harrison and Debo Samuel.
Yeah, agreed.
I do think Pittman is a fine option. You know, obviously we saw there's a limited floor with the way Anthony Richardson plays football. And then Worthy's a really fun play, but I just feel much better about having Marvin and Debo as options.
Yeah, I agree. So I completely agree with you there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that super chat, though, Carlton.
Yeah, very, very kind of you, man.
Yeah, we did get another super chat from Jerry Hall. I don't see a message. Okay, it's at the top here. It says, let me know if you see. It says, do I trade Martin Harrison for James Cook? I have CMC, Mason, Bigsby, and Etienne.
This is a dynasty question, I see. And there's no way in hell I'm trading Marvin Harrison for James Cook in Dynasty.
Yeah.
No. Not even, it's not even Harrison close. Too. It's not even, no, someone is trying to take advantage of you. It sounds like you have an experienced Dynasty player who is trying to take you for a ride. And they're probably telling you, you need running back. I got an excess of them. I'm going to help you out. No, they're trying to take advantage of you. No, absolutely
taking advantage.
No way.
Don't do it. But we appreciate that super chat, Jerry. In Dynasty, you can get way more.
Yeah.
Well, not way more.
You should be able to get multiple first-round picks in James Cook in Dynasty.
Yeah.
For Marvin.
I completely agree. For Marvin,
there's no way people in Dynasty are freaking out that much about him.
Yeah. Hello, Tess. Thank you so much for the super chat. So should I try and make a trade for more running back depth? As I have Bijan and Monty, Chase Brown, Dotto, and your wide receivers are Ayuk, Rice, Dell, Brian Thomas, Keon Coleman, Puka on the IR, have PPR 12 man. So you have Bijan, Monty, Chase Brown, and Dotto. I don't think you're pressed to make a trade for more running backs. I think you can trade to upgrade at running back if you really wanted to, or if you actually can. But that's not something I think you actually have to do. Can you package Monty, and I don't know, Keon Coleman and try and go out and get a higher tier running back? Can you go out and get the likes of once again, I don't know how your league is, but in
my opinion, if you're making a trade for depth, you're not no, we're way overthinking at that point.
Yeah.
Surely, if one of those guys go down and Monty goes down and Bijan goes down and you need to make some moves, you need to pivot, absolutely. But no, not if we're thinking about depth. Trading for names that we're not even going to start. Our benches are so limited, especially in non-dynasty formats. It's just no. I think we're way overthinking it. If Puka or if Bijan goes down, if Monty goes down, obviously we're gonna have to make a pivot. But what if you sold Ayuk way too low for depth? What if you sold Brian Thomas before he breaks out and becomes like this top 12 name potentially, or Keon? So personally, no, I don't like the idea of doing that.
Yeah, I'm there with you, Wayne Renzeski. I really love to know how to pronounce your last name, Wayne. And do you play hockey? Those are the two follow-up questions. He said, thanks, guys, on this last question. Unfortunately, I have Waddle as a flex. In my other league, I have Mason Pacheco, Rice in the flex. Would you start Mason over Pacheco or Rice? I'm starting Mason over Pacheco. Mason over Rice is a phenomenal question.
Yeah, I would start Mason over both.
In a full PPR, I feel like it's really difficult to not start Rice, but I understand it. I do have Mason as a top 10 running back.
Mason already outscored Rice in week 1 versus a good defense in New York. So,
and Rice is just outside my top 10, so I would agree. I would go with Mason.
They're all very good options, but if Jordan Mason touches the ball 20 times again in that offense, I just don't see how he doesn't smash. So, very difficult question. I could see it going either way, but I just think with the information we currently are being given, then Jordan Mason is definitely the play. And by the way, to the 280 people watching, I would very strongly advise to go pick up Isaac Horindo if he's available. Now look, if you're in a 10 team, start 8, then this is probably a waste for you. But I'm out here talking to the 12 team leagues, start 8, 6 bench spots type of formats. Okay, so if Isaac Horindo is out there right now, he has to be rostered everywhere. I'm so annoyed that CMC didn't go on the IR before I made my stash video. This would be one of my number 1 stashes. It really would. So I hope this is helpful to anybody out there. Why am I so passionate about this? Because respectfully to Jordan Mason, he's nothing special. Like, respectfully, he's a good player. But he's obviously, guys, if Jordan Mason was the starting running back for the Carolina Panthers, do you think any of us would care about him? Of course not. Now, you've got a young rookie who is extremely athletic in Isaac Horindo, who is next up. Elijah Mitchell's out for the year. If Jordan Mason goes down with an injury, this will be the number 1 pickup in every waiver wire video everywhere. He has to be stashed. It's an absolute no-brainer to stash him.
It's a no-brainer.
Just wanted to bring that little tidbit, little nugget.
Just a little nugget there for you guys. Mr. 305 says full PPR, pick 2. JSN, Brian Thomas, Bowers. So let's pick 2 out of there. For me, this would be JSN and Brian Thomas. Over Bowers. How do you feel about Bowers? I like what Bowers did, though.
Love JSN, but I can't start him over Bowers. Not after, in limited work, he got 8 targets in his first game. So love JSN, but I need to see it. If I saw what JSN got and it was exactly what Brock Bowers did, I'd be so happy about it. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go Thomas and Bowers there. I love JSN though. And then Stafford or Baker.
I think they both have phenomenal matchups. I think Stafford is the start of the week for me. But yeah, I mean, that's hard to kind of gauge. Where do you have both of these guys?
Yeah, it's funny. I have Stafford at 13, Fields at 14, and Baker at 15. So I would be Stafford as well, but it's very close.
It is very close to me as well. So
yeah, these whole names here, like, to be honest with you, if I was to make a tier, I think from Dak Prescott to Joe Burrow would all be in the same tier this week. Dak, Stafford, Fields, Mayfield, Burrow. I could see any one of those names outscoring the other. So I would go Stafford, but it's very close. Yeah. We got another super chat here, Badaki. People are donating. You guys are very kind. You are skipping the queue with that donation. Daniel Vatur says, Dynasty Superflex just traded Brian Thomas, Burton in a third for Cook, Godwin in a fourth. Contending this year, what do you guys think?
Brian Thomas and Burton in a third for Cook, Godwin in a fourth. I mean, if you're contending this year and you traded away James Cook and Chris Godwin after
he got them.
Okay, I'm okay with James Cook and Chris Godwin for that. At the end of the day, I'll be honest, I do want Brian Thomas Jr. in a dynasty league. But like in this context that you're saying to compete to try and win this year, Cook and Godwin is the guys that you want.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit torn between this.
Yeah, I think the most valuable player in this deal for me, like if I was to do a startup today, I would have Brian Thomas over James Cook. So I find it difficult that we didn't get the most valuable player in my rankings. I could be wrong. I just think Brian Thomas could be that dude. But I agree in the sense of like, if you're competing right now, this is a very fair trade. Value-wise, this is very fair. And as long as Godwin continues to cook, I think you'll be happy with this.
Yeah, maybe he can get his value up to a first if he continues the way he's going. Houdini Weenie.
Yep.
Appreciate you. So, fellas, I got Evans and Godwin in a 3 wide receiver league. Which do I keep rest of the season, or do both eat targets consistently? Trade for Olave after his bad game. I feel
I was just looking at their rest of season schedule. So they've got Denver in week 3. To me, that feels more like a Godwin game than an Evans game because of Pat Surtain. They've got Philly after that, which is a great matchup. After that, they've got Atlanta. So I think for Godwin, you've got 3 really solid weeks coming up. Doesn't mean he's going to produce every week, but he's got 3 solid opportunities here. I would be interested to see what Mike Evans could get me. And I think Mike is going to be so good this year, but can I turn Mike into Nico?
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going to go. I don't want an Olave. Rice. Exactly. Nico. Give me Nico. Give me Rice. Give me Debo. Give me Ayuk. Give me one of those guys. I don't want Chris Olave. And maybe I'm being harsh because I don't love Chris Olave. Not because of the person, because of the situation. I think you'll have better games. It's not going to be 2 targets every game, but I just want those other guys.
Can you turn Evans into Ayuk and make it a 2-for-2 and upgrade somewhere else based off Ayuk's bad game that he just came off of? Can you turn Evans into Chase off a bad game? Those are the things I'd be exploring. But I do love the question. It's a very good question. Houdini Weenie, Yellow Polka Dot Bikini. Panther is the next super chat. Appreciate the donation, my man. He says, Flex, Palmer, Javonte Williams, Ridley, and Zamir. I guess we have to choose one. For me, this would be a really awful question to ask because I don't want to start any of these names. In fact, I just made a video today where I said I don't want to start Ridley. I don't want to start Zamir White. I don't have a lot of confidence in Palmer personally. I guess I'll check to you for Palmer. I don't think he's the number 1 on his team, and I don't like the game script here.
Yeah, the game script is not ideal for Palmer. For me, this comes down... Well, I know who I'm starting here, which I know you're not going to like, and it's Calvin Ridley.
No, I agree. I hate it, but I agree.
Yeah, I would start Calvin Ridley over all these guys, but yes, Palmer, not a decent... Not a favorable game script, but I love that he played 81% of the snaps. I think we can see a little bit more work there.
He also was ejected from the game, so he would have been closer to 95% of the snaps.
Yeah, so I think like that's also a concept we need to take in. After week 1, do they hone in on Lamb McConkey? Not saying that's going to be the case, but like, new teams are going to game plan to eliminate somebody. That might be the run game, and then Lamb McConkey, who led this team in targets. So I'm still going Calvin Ridley, but I think Palmer could have a good bounce back game. I think he will get more than 3 points this week, basically what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Don't love it, though. Don't love it.
It's a tough one. Anbu, appreciate the donation. Trade Mason for Puka. I'm getting Puka. I mean, no, definitely not. I mean, look, guys, I love Puka Nacua, but they're saying he could be out 6 weeks. Do you want to have a player on your roster that you won't play for 6 weeks? At best, you're 1-0 right now. You have to go through the next 6 weeks trying to figure out how to overcome that. That's no way.
What's
not
funny,
even close.
What's funny, you have a starting running back in Mason for the next 4 weeks or potentially 6 weeks, just like Puka. So why would you trade that away? Like,
I'd make this move in 3 or 4 weeks from now.
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
Not right
Mason's going to be on a sell high video in a lot of content creators' channels in the next couple weeks because of that same situation, or what Zach just said. So keep that in mind. Angel, thank you so much. He says standard PPR, 12-team league, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. So you need to start 2 wide receivers in a flex. So pick 3 out of these guys: Kupp, Rice, Collins, Godwin. This is first 3. Completely agree.
Yep.
Thank you for the super chat. Tapman 1212 or 1212 says Waddle to bench. Should I insert Connor as a flex? If you're saying that you didn't start Waddle this week, kudos to you.
I think this is a question moving forward. I think he's asking for future weeks, and if I'm reading it right, then I would say definitely Connor. In future weeks.
Everyone is on the Dolphins are going to be struggling, and if you have Waddle, the Tyreek's a must start. I still think for everyone, but Waddle without Tua has been pretty bad in his career. So yeah, I would definitely start Connor next week over Waddle. But if you have Waddle, if you have Tyreek, it's not a good idea to sell high. I told our audience, Badaki, that I was going to put Tyreek on the trade block to show them what terrible offers would come through. And I'm not going to call anyone out, but I got a trade for Najee Harris. I got a trade for... Is this in the Flock League?
Yeah, I got a trade for Trey Benson.
I know who has Najee Harris. I know who has
I got a trade for Chris Olave.
I don't know who has Chris Olave.
Telling you right now that trading Tyreek is not a good idea. No one's going to give you a good one. Okay, let's see. Next question is from Thermo. Thermo donated. Appreciate you. This looks like it's Thermo's first super chat, so thank you very much for supporting the channel. Guys, super chats do skip the queue. Otherwise, we go in order from top to bottom. And Thermo's question is, by the way, Canada, from Canada. Likely or Parkinson, flex Marvin or Worthy? So let's start with the first one. Love Parkinson this week, but after seeing what is possible for Isaiah Likely on any given week, it's hard to tell you to sit him if that's your best option. So I got Likely 1 spot ahead of Parkinson in my rankings. I could totally see Likely busting. You could see any tight end busting. I mean, name a single tight end that is not bust proof. It doesn't exist now, but I would start Likely knowing that range of outcome is possible for him.
Oh gosh, imagine. Sorry, I'm going Likely as well, and I'm going Marlon Harrison Jr. over Worthy. Same. Just imagine all off season we're saying how good is the value on tight ends, still historically, yeah, it still could be, and then this year could historically be the worst year for tight ends.
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, certainly, I'm pretty optimistic with Kincaid's usage, especially because they didn't need him at all in the game.
Yeah. But they came out and wanted to get him the ball early, which was great.
I feel fairly confident that a lot of tight ends will be a lot better this week.
Yeah, I
but
agree.
We are both going Marv over Worthy. Just still riding the train of draft capital, still riding the train of should be the number 1 target. It should be a get right game for Marvin, right?
Yep, should be. I love it. Love it. We did get another super chat from Jacob Con. Yeah. But okay, here we go. Says meant to set this as a chat. Was wondering if I should flex Ramondre or Amari Cooper. I think it depends on the lineup. This is a standard. You go Ramondre Stevenson. If you go half PPR, you go Ramondre Stevenson. If you go full PPR, I'm still going Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah, I think I agree.
I love Amari Cooper this week, but I think what we saw from Ramondre Stevenson this past week, it's hard to pass up. Amari Cooper should have a bounce back game. I said that on the Fantasyland Never Stops channel. We saw 9 targets, 95% of the snap share. I think he does have a better game here against the Jags. But Ramondre Stevenson, I think, is somebody you just got to continue, because even if it's a negative game script, he's going to get those targets.
Yeah, full PPR, right? Or do we know? No, we don't. If there's any PPR involved, I'm going Ramondre. Yeah, it's just he's going to touch the ball so many times. With Amari Cooper, we saw if him and Deshaun Watson aren't in sync, we've seen what the floor could be, and the floor is significantly lower than Stevenson's. I mean, Stevenson has like what, an 8-point floor, and we obviously saw the ceiling. So a 3-point floor for Amari Cooper is tough to see. Is Deshaun Watson? He's healthy, right? He's just bad.
Look, I think a lot of people are being a little harsh on Deshaun, but like,
I don't think
I think he'll have a better bounce back game. I think it was a tough matchup against the Cowboys.
Yeah, fair.
But like,
I am still sticking to the notion that the fantasy gods cast a spell on him when they found out what he was doing behind closed doors. That's still my official takeaway.
And that's okay.
That, you know, unfortunately, he's just Alakazam. Now you're bad. The Monstars took his power. We got a super chat here from Mr. Trace Sarocinco. Guys, we will answer the normal questions, of course. But if people donate, of course, we're going to prioritize the people who donate a question. The first one is from Mr. Trace Sarocinco. He says, half-point PPR. Pick one, Deontay Johnson, Sutton, Palmer, or Dortch. This would be Deontay for me.
Yeah. This is Deontay for me.
Not good in week one. However, the reason for hope is just simply because Deontay had a 35% target share before he was taken out of the game in the early fourth quarter. So if the offense figures it out, Deontay should be a much better floor going forward.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is definitely one of the toughest persons to gauge, I think, this year. I think the Panthers offense as a whole, it makes me question about Jonathan Brooks and when he comes back as well, or gets on the field. But yes, you have to hope that Deontay Johnson has a better bounce back, or excuse me, Bryce Young has a bounce back and they can find something rolling. Please, something.
They need to figure it out. We got another super chat here from Isaac. Appreciate the donation, man. This is their 5th super chat on the stream. Appreciate you, man. He says, full PPR, flex, Ford, Amari, Zay, or DK. Thanks. So, I think this is DK Metcalf for me. There are 2 very good options, but I think this is DK Metcalf. You know, we have seen him have boom bust games, but you got to play him to get those boom games.
Yep, I'm going DK Metcalf here as well. I have DK over Amari Cooper this week, but I think you can easily see Amari Cooper outscore DK Metcalf if the fantasy guys just give Deshaun one Sunday.
But who are you starting then?
For me, it's DK. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much for
confidence,
that. Yeah. No, start him with confidence. It is tough, but like I'm starting DK with confidence if I had this. So appreciate you.
Hey guys, a heads up. We say this all the time, but we don't want to do this. If you're going to spam your question in the chat, you are going to be put in timeout. We've had to do it to a couple people on the stream today. You are only making it more difficult for us to see everybody's questions. All right. We will answer questions from top to bottom in order. And of course, donations will get prioritized. If people are going to donate money to hear our opinion, of course, we're going to prioritize those questions. But of course, we'll get to all the questions that we can. Just please don't be that guy. Just don't spam the chat. It is so frustrating for us, for everyone. Young Rula, appreciate the donation, man. He says, I just dropped Rome Odunze for Herindo. Ooh, no. Not that far.
No.
See, this is why I prefaced it when I said don't drop. This is why I prefaced it when I said if you're in a 12-man deeper league, go get Herindo. But if you dropped Rome Odunze, that means you're probably in a small league. That's why I tried to preface that. No, I would not have done that. No.
Go. Yeah.
Hopefully you can get him back and there's no like waiver priority here, but
yeah.
Way too early to give up on Rome, who's a top 10 NFL pick.
Yeah, I completely agree. That I said, Osinko, thank you so much for another super chat here today. He said pick 2, full PPR, JMO, DJ Moore, JSN, Brian Thomas. For me, it's definitely DJ Moore I'm starting. And I think it's a great question between Jamo, Brian Thomas. I think this is you like to party. Or maybe you're starting Jamo with
They're both
confidence. You let
party.
me know.
It's Jameson Williams for me.
Yeah, I'm starting Jameson Williams over Brian Thomas. I think in the game plan, which I'm pretty sure Zach was probably going to mention, is that this is going to be a game plan type of game, right? Like he's going to be needing this offense. You kind of expect the Bucks and the Lions to score a lot of points. Is this the highest over under this week?
No, I don't think so. But it might be. It's very close if it's not. But yeah, no, I think the reason I'm going Jameson Williams is last week. I mean, you saw him get 7-8 targets. If that's possible for Brian Thomas, then we would definitely be starting Brian Thomas, and certainly it could be at some point. But yeah, you've already seen what you wanted to see from Jameson. It's a good matchup. They will probably need him. Both offenses can score, so I'm going to go him and DJ Moore.
I completely agree. Thank you so much for that super chat there. Frags, you said Mason in London for Amon-Ra, Bijan, and Devon still.
What? Definitely Amon-Ra, Bijan,
and
oh wait, it's
Devon.
A comma. So he says he still has Bijan and Achane. No, you don't sell Amon-Ra St. Brown. No. Love Jordan Mason, but no, you don't sell Amon-Ra St. Brown. I wouldn't do that personally.
Yeah, I completely agree there. Thank you so much for that super chat though. What we got? Vex.
First donation ever. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for donating to the channel. Says DJ Moore or ETN at flex. I'm gonna go Travis Etienne. I do think they want him to feel like, based off of coach speak this week, Doug Peterson I think wants Etienne to feel comfortable again. I
actually rewatched that game.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was a game you watched, but I rewatched it again and it was like, I think Tank is just gonna have a role.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It just wasn't it just wasn't like, okay, this is a game script type of game plan, or Etienne just is not what we thought. Yeah. Or
no, like, I definitely agree. I've been saying that as well in our waiver videos, but yeah. I think Etienne is still startable. Etienne is still the third down and pass catching type of option for them. And Doug Peterson, from his conversations this week, it sounds like he wants to get him back into the end zone and have him feel comfortable. So I think there's another opportunity for Etienne this week.
I personally would say this. I understand Etienne. I think DJ Moore can have a great game because Rome Odunze and Keenan Allen are most likely not going to play in this game.
I didn't hear that about Keenan. I heard that about Rome.
Keenan's questionable.
Yeah, Rome is probably not going to play, but
yeah, I just say I would say this: if Keenan doesn't play with Rome, I would heavily lean DJ Moore here. Okay. But I can understand Travis Etienne. Thank you so much for that super chat, though, Vex.
Man, there's a scenario where the Bears are awful this week, by the way.
There is. I think, which is great. It's great, though, because that means they're going to throw the ball.
No, I don't think. So I think in theory, yes. But I actually think this is potentially worse for DJ Moore if there's no Keenan Allen. Because who do you have to stop? DJ Moore. That's literally it. And you got to think about Singletary, or what's his name? Number 24 for the Texans.
Stingley.
Derek Stingley, very good cornerback in the NFL. And why wouldn't you just double and, shadow two players all over DJ Moore the entire game? Who are they going to throw the ball to? Tyler Scott?
The reason why I am not 100% worried is because DJ Moore has been the lone wolf for a long time. So like, if you think about last year when I just remember last year specifically, I just think about all the teams all the good corners he was going against and how well he performed versus those guys. I think he's just gonna have a good floor. He may not score 24 points. He's probably gonna score 12, 11, 13.
Here's the tough part is you need Caleb Williams to be worlds better, because as hard as this is to hear for Bears fans, Justin Fields played better in week 1 than Caleb Williams did. The Justin Fields you got last year for the Chicago Bears was a better player than Caleb Williams is today. Now, clearly, Caleb Williams' ceiling is infinitely higher. He could be the best quarterback in the NFL at some point, if not in his second year or third year. But what you saw in week 1, was worse than what you had in Justin Fields last year. Quarterback play.
I definitely hear you. I hear you there. Who's next here? Roman, thank you so much for the super chat.
We should clarify. Well, I'm going Etienne. You're going DJ?
I'm going DJ if Keenan and Rome don't play, which is, I guess, technically just Keenan. I'll clarify that. Yeah, sorry if that was confusing. Roman, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, happy PPR, Martin Harrison Jr. or Brian Robinson. This is Martin Harrison for the both of us with confidence, I would say. And then likely or Kittle. Wow. Likely or Kittle.
I'll go Kittle.
Yeah, I have Kittle higher in my rankings, but I mean, if you think about it, that's a tough one.
It is definitely difficult.
If you think about it,
I just need to see it more for likely before I can put him out there over a name like
8 points last week, which didn't kill your week with Kittle.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's a very difficult one. I'm just gonna go Kittle. There's been more weeks that we can point to historically for him being good. Likely could be the next coming of God himself, but we have to see a little more consistency first. And yes, I will go Marv over B Rob. The next super chat is from Anesty. Appreciate you. Thanks for the donation. Full PPR, Jayden Reed or Dortch projected to win by 9. This is honestly not a crazy question. It really isn't when Malik Willis is your starting quarterback for the Packers. So I still think you have to play Jayden Reed.
Yep.
I
didn't know where you were going to go.
The hope in the design is that there are enough designed plays already written into the game plan for Jayden Reed to be okay. But man, there's huge bust potential for Reed this week. Massive bust potential.
I agree. I went back to watch the Carolina game as well, and you let me know how you felt about Dortch, but I just felt like there was just a lot of scramble plays where he just got those targets over broken opportunities.
But that's kind of going to be his role the entire year, I think. And if you think about it, that is a Kyler Murray type of player.
I understand. I just expect Marvin to be a little bit more worked into where Greg may not be that guy, but I saw, like, if you look at like I said, one of the games I rewatched yesterday, and I was like, Marvin was on the sidelines where Greg George was just in the flat in the middle of the field, just like sitting in the zone. So yeah, I definitely get what you're saying though.
Yeah. Mario, thanks for the donation, brother. He says Javonte Williams or Madison versus the Ravens. And I do think this is a legit, real question. Because the way they're using the running backs in Denver is so confusing and disgusting. It makes me sick. It really does. You're using the 225-pound Javonte Williams as your pass catching specialist. You're using the 185-pound Jaleel McLaughlin as your first and second down back. In what world does that make any sense? Of course, Jaleel was inefficient. Why are you using him that way? Why would you put him in that role? I don't know. I still think it has to be Javonte, though. I don't know, dude. In full PPR, are they not just going to dump it off to Madison the entire game?
Madison just like, if Madison doesn't break that play, what's Madison this week? What does he do this week? I don't know. I'm still going Javonte. Yeah. Maybe he's one of the guys, like, they're finally in the red zone and he just scores a touchdown and hope that's what you're hoping for. But I don't expect that from Madison.
He's not the first and second down back, which is what sucks.
Hey, maybe Mario should go pick up Jaleel and start him. I might be starting Jaleel in one of my leagues because of all my injuries.
I still can't believe Flock traded for Javonte.
I sent him a trade. I was like, hey, let's just lock up this Denver backfield. You want Jaleel? I sent him Jaleel I did it as a funny trade, Jaleel for Tajay Spears, and he just instantly rejected it.
I mean, look at this week 1 from Javonte Williams. 52% of the snaps, 3 points. How does it get worse than that?
Him losing his job. Him.
He already kind of did.
Yeah, I mean, Jaleel had less snaps than him and scored more points. Yeah. That's because he had targets. He caught all 5 out of 5, but only 1 yard.
I think I lean Javonte, but it is close. And I'm sorry, Mario. That's a really difficult decision to make, man.
Yeah.
Smallsy, appreciate the donation. Smallsy says London, Coop, or Worthy at flex. Amari Cooper, or is that Cooper Cup? If that's Cooper Cup, Cooper Cup. If it's Amari Cooper, then Cooper. London for me.
This is London. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree there. Suge.
Yeah.
Suge?
Surge.
Star 3. Flowers, Metcalf, Brian Robinson, Dell, Maserati, Marv. Okay, let's start there. The 3 from me would be Marv, Metcalf, and Tank Dell out of those names that you mentioned in that first part.
Yeah, so I'm going Marv, Dell, and Metcalf as well. We're on the same page. Reason being, Maserati Marv, I think it's a get-right game for him. I think they'll be intentional about getting him the ball. Tank Dell had 8 targets last week. It didn't pan out the way we wanted it to, but he had just as many targets as Nico Collins. He had more targets than Stephon Diggs. DK Metcalf, hello, Pat Surtain. That's why that didn't work out. Now, he's got a tough matchup versus Christian Gonzalez, but I think he has a far higher ceiling than Flowers. Why? Because Flowers, the average depth of target makes him such a difficult fantasy asset. I mean, yeah, 10 targets look great, but if every one of those targets is at the line of scrimmage, what does it really mean for fantasy? I mean, you're asking so much from Zay Flowers every single time he touches the ball for him to have any impact on the game. So that is why I go, and I think you would agree with me there as well. By the way, beat Mason Dodd in fantasy is the hashtag.
Come on, beat him.
So we're trying. We're trying.
I mean,
he's going to beat himself at this point.
Who are you playing this week?
I'm playing Joe from...
You're playing Joe?
Yeah, but unfortunately, Tyreek shit the bed for me, so I've got an uphill battle.
Yeah, that's just unlucky. You can't really do much about that, can you? Rest in peace to every...
Although he has Keenan, he has Palmer, and he's starting both of them, so I guess I have to hope that they don't play. Although then maybe he flexes likely. I'd rather Palmer play than him flex likely.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll wait and see.
Anyway.
Thank you so much for the super chat, guys. We really appreciate you. If you guys want to skip the queue, all you have to do is drop a super chat. But if not, we're going in order, and I'll let you take it from here, whichever the earliest one that you can see.
Yes, the first question that's not a super chat that I can see is from Ryan. Should I trade Caleb with Brian Robinson for A-Rich and Jaleel? It's a standard league. Yeah, give me A-Rich there. DK or Tank.
Keep going until I pick you up.
Or Neighbors, no worries. I'm going to go DK there, and I'm going to go Malik Neighbors. Love his matchup versus the Commanders. Timbo says, I traded Amari Cooper, Pittman, and for McBride, Marvin, and half PPR. Is that a good deal? Yeah, I prefer the McBride-Marvin side of that deal, personally. So I think those two names will bounce back, if that's the question. We did get a super chat from Joe Castle, so he is skipping the queue. Appreciate you, Joe.
Shout out to Joe Castle. Appreciate you.
I have CMC and Mason. Trade or keep him. At this point, I don't know why. Like, I would just keep both of them.
Yeah, I will keep both of them.
You know you have a top 12 starter every week for the rest of the year. Really?
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree.
Yeah. I mean, if you trade away CMC, what could you really get for him at this point? People know they won't have him for 4 weeks. People are not comfortable enough to trade for an asset they can't start at this point of the year. So I think you just keep them. And then when CMC's back, he's still going to be one of like the top 3 names you start every single week, regardless of position.
Yeah, agreed. Sorry, I was still trying to find you. And I just
okay. The next question.
Lucky Roger asked a question. Shout out to Lucky Roger.
Oh, did he?
Anyways. It was just a match. It was something else.
Next question in order that I can see is from Jay Smooth. Hey, we're going to be live for the next 10 minutes, okay? 10 minutes past the hour, unless you want to go longer, Badaki.
No, I was good. I would like to spend time with my child.
Okay, yeah. So
I love you guys. Love you. Rather be with my child.
That's fair. We're going to go live for the next 10 minutes. We'll answer as many questions as we can. Of course, super chats do get prioritized. The next one I can see is from Jay Smooth. Yesterday, I traded Mason, Daniel Jones, and George Pickens for A-Rich and Marvin Harrison. I feel fine with that, honestly. I feel fine with that.
Yeah.
That's a wait-and-see type of trade. Olave or Tyler Johnson, I'm going Olave. Jan says the Flock League videos are so nice. Happy you're a part of it. We're happy to be a part of it as well. Kyler so A-Rich, I'm going A-Rich there.
Going, I don't know where I have Kyler. Let me just triple check. I have Anthony Richardson.
Yes, we did get a super chat from Elias, so she or he, sorry. You know, that's a neutral one. I think it's a he. Is skipping the queue here. I just made a trade, and the group chat is roasting me. Need reassurance. I traded Chase, Swift, Chubb for Debo, Etienne, Swift. For Debo in Etienne. Swift was my RB2.
Jamar Chase, Swift, and Chubb for Debo, Etienne, Swift.
I don't even know which side you got, but I would say the Chase side for me. Actually, this is pretty even. Like
that's what I was going to say. Debo and Etienne is pretty even.
The upgrade from Swift to Etienne is more significant than the upgrade from Debo to Chase.
And he exactly. I was going to say Debo and Etienne is not a bad trade because I'm not a big believer in Nick Chubb. Respectfully, I love him, but like I don't think he's going to be a fantasy relevant player when he's back on the field. So he's just going to be a guy that's going to consistently work up into that workload. And Swift, I'd rather have Etienne still over Swift and Debo. I think Debo and Etienne.
If Jamar Chase returns to 2022 Jamar Chase, where he was averaging over 20 points per game, you lose this deal. Okay?
Sure.
But if Jamar Chase is a 16 to 18 points per game scorer and Etienne doesn't lose his job, then I think you're completely fine. This is really a trade that you'll look back on in like 10 weeks from now and you'll know who won, because did Etienne lose a role? Did Bigsby really get 50% of the opportunity? Did Jamar Chase and Burrow figure it out? I think they will. So the best player in this deal is Jamar Chase, and that's probably why they're going crazy, because you have that I
also think
certainty.
a lot of leagues still believe in Nick Chubb. Where I don't like. I think we've seen it in a lot of home leagues. Nick Chubb was getting drafted still significantly higher than where I was comfortable taking him. That's not somebody I want to lean on personally. So I think that's what they're saying.
Overall, I think it's an even deal. Like the fact that we're even talking about it and we're still going through it, I think it's an even deal. I think honestly, I've been this person in a group chat before where I'm just angry that a trade happened and it wasn't me. So that's probably what's happening. They're probably just bitching and moaning because they didn't get involved in the trade. Say, next time, send me a deal. You snooze, you lose, bitch.
Trade, huh?
The next super chat is from Maurice. Thanks for the donation. Their first super chat on the stream, very kind. Offering Devonta and Neighbors for Wilson. I think it's an overpay for Wilson, personally.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I love Garrett Wilson, but what we saw from Devonta Smith and what we believe in Neighbors, he should be okay. Becker. It says, do I flex Robinson, Olave, Ayuk, or Chase? I think this is easily Ayuk for us.
I absolutely agree, but that's just too many options. I feel like you got to consolidate. You got to make a trade here. You got to package Brian Robinson and another name after this week and upgrade somewhere. That's just too many decisions to make every week. But yeah, I would also start Ayuk. I love his matchup versus the Vikings. I think he bounces back. Thanks for your first ever donation. Another first ever donation here from Mitchell. Appreciate you, man. Kermit the Frog here. Okay. 12 team PPR, half PPR. Fields, Trevor, Waddle, Neighbors, London, McLaurin, Andrews, likely CMC. Okay. How can I improve is the question.
Okay, let's look at your running backs. Well, you can improve your running backs because CMC's out.
I love that you have Harindo, by the way, though. That's smart.
Yeah, you have Harindo, which is great. I think that's probably the biggest place that you can upgrade, but that means you have to trade somebody. And you don't have a tradable asset here. Waddle's not tradable, Neighbors not tradable, London's not tradable, Terry's not tradable.
Every single player on your team underperformed in week 1. Every single player on your team is a buy low. Buy low on Neighbors, buy low on London, buy low on, maybe not those.
I think the only player,
Ramondre did well.
The only person that you can sell on this team, now looking at it, is Isaiah Likely because you have Andrews and Likely.
That's where I would go, yeah. I would make a call, Mitchell. If there's someone in your league who just thinks Likely is the guy, then I would make a call. And I'd probably try and trade Likely to improve the roster. I'd package Likely and CMC. And I'd go out and I'd try and get a top running back name. I'd try and get a Achane, Bijan, Saquon Brees. That's probably not possible. Can I get a Gibbs? Can I get a Mixon? So, and then you just have to hope that Likely isn't that guy.
Yeah.
But honestly, trading CMC, you don't want to do it. But look at this team. Mitchell, you got to be honest with yourself. How many games are you going to win? Waddle is going to be tough to start until Tua's back, if Tua's back. You have no quarterback that's going to be top 12 on a weekly basis.
No. You
have no RB2 at all.
Yeah. This is a tough team. And we like to say, we like to be transparent instead of saying, hey, this is a good team and give you false hope. But like, this is but you have a lot of players that need to bounce back this week, which is the problem. Outside of your running back room, everyone here needs to bounce back. Andrews,
the improvement
London,
is all
Neighbors.
Internal, and it's by like, to be honest, Mitchell, now it's a little bit on you. Why do I say that? What's the pre-game locker room speech you got planned up for these boys?
Come on.
Because they need one hell of a talking up.
You got to change the atmosphere.
I mean,
you got to do something special.
These guys did not do what you wanted them to in week 1. So,
lap them around a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, can you get Derrick Henry for CMC likely and also get like Godwin or something? Derrick Henry and Godwin. Like, just as an example. Those are the type of moves you need to be trying to look at doing there.
Yeah. But we appreciate that super chat, Mitchell. Sorry if that was a little bit harsh, but once again, we like to be transparent and honest with you guys. But we appreciate you. We'll be live. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say we're gonna be live until 10 minutes past the hour. That's 3 minutes left. So if you have any pressing questions, drop a super chat. If not, first question Zach sees. That's where we're going.
Yeah, the first non-super chat I see is from Vladimir, not Putin though. He says flex Dell, Charbonnet, or Dobbins, and this would be Dell and PPR for me.
This is Dell for me. Yep.
Liam says Ladd, Monty, or Terry. Flex start 7. This would be Montgomery for me. I think Badaki would agree. Etienne or Dobbins, I'm going Etienne. Charbonnet, let's see, we answered that already. Flex Sharp or Marvin Harrison, I'm going Marvin Harrison. Diggs, Stevenson for Kamara Godwin. I want the Kamara Godwin side of that, but it's close. I'm going Marvin over Brian Thomas this week. Harrison or Dell, I'm going Marvin Harrison. What's up, Albert? It's good to have you here, brother. You're probably gone by now, but what's up? Should I start Mason over Kamara? I would. Good luck. Opposite. Should I do Pacheco and Marvin for Jahmyr Gibbs? No, I want the Pacheco and Marvin Harrison side. Keenan Allen, Zamir, Andre Shivas, or Leggett. Keenan Allen if he plays. Otherwise, I think you just have to throw Zamir out there and hope for the best. It's disgusting, though. Tracy says 10 team, full PPR, David Montgomery or Brian Thomas Jr. I'm going Montgomery.
Agreed.
Mason or Rashad for tomorrow in a full PPR. I'm going Mason, but I could easily see it going towards Rashad's way with PPR. Should I fit Mason as my lineup? I've got Mixon, Kamara, Adams, Amari Cooper, Smith, Evans. I would be replacing Amari Cooper in your flex with Jordan Mason.
Agree. Oh, you're starting Adams over Amari?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't see why not. Okay.
We got a super chat here from Bernard. This might be the last question of the stream here. Bernard says, big problem, A.J. Brown, Brian Thomas, or Tyler Johnson. To me, I would be starting A.J. Brown. And because you have A.J. Brown, that means we need to pick up a worst case scenario player like a Jahan Dotson off waivers, like a Ray McLeod off waivers. Those are really the main names. Darnell Mooney, I doubt he's there, but Darnell Mooney is an option. So yeah, you don't have like a Godwin that I can start instead, or a Neighbors I can start instead. So I would go ahead and go. I would go AJ Brown there, hoping that he plays, and if he doesn't, I would pick up Dotson over. Would you go Dotson or Ray? Because that's his next question there.
I don't think Dotson's ready to be leaned on in that offense. So I would go either Mooney or Ray. That's what I would say.
I think that's fair. They might have to use him. They might have to. I think they would lean on either Saquon or Dallas Goedert over him
I mean, yeah, that's kind of how I would lean.
All right, this is probably the last question of the stream. We got to go hang out with our families, guys. It is Sunday afternoon where we are in Sydney, Australia, so we got to go hang out. I got to go hang out with my wife, but Aki's got to go hang out with his child. We can't abandon them, unfortunately. I mean, we'll fortunately.
But we appreciate you guys, honestly, and have a good luck on Sunday. I know a lot of people are most likely going to trickle out now before you guys leave. Good luck this Sunday. We'll be live after, or Zach will be live after the Sunday slate games, giving you the whole breakdown of what's going to be happening. But we appreciate you, BS. This is the last question of the day here.
Yeah, unless there's any other super chats. But the other thing I was going to quickly say is before you guys leave, if you want to ask us a question at any time, if we leave the stream, that link is available. I put it in the chat. It'll also be in the pinned comment as well. But the last question is from Swerve. It's a super chat. He says, with CMC out, I need to start one of Chase Brown, Leggett, Dobbs, or Benson. Man, Dobbs is not playable with
Dobbs is not
Malik
playable.
Willis. Benson isn't playable. He had 1 drive last week. Leggett had 9 targets. Are we going Leggett here? Or 7 targets, I think.
I think it was 7 targets. I'm going with the targets. The only reason why I'm guessing this is because Zach Moss was dealing with the injury dealing with that neck injury, and I can just see him easily re-injuring that during the game, and then Chase Brown could be the guy. But that's a lot of and if or buts, right, to kind of lean on. That's tough, man. And you can't trust that offense.
Chase Brown, if it's full PPR, Leggett for me.
Yeah,
but you're really throwing a prayer out. You really are. It's a Hail Mary.
I'll rock with that as well. Yeah, it is a Hail Mary. It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
Hey, rankings on the Flock Fantasy site will be updated. If you guys want access to those, go to flockfantasy.com/land. Become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. If you're a yearly member, by the way, we will review your team. In fact, Badaki, we do need to review a team before we head off here. I just remember that. I don't want to leave this guy before the weekend. We need to review his team. So that's actually the last thing we'll do. Let's see here. My reviews. Again, guys, you can check out the link we put in the chat there if you want a team review. But we are going to review GSOT's team. So he said this is a 1 quarterback, 12 team, start 8 PPR league. He says 2 keeper league. We are able to trade picks for next year. Ended up grinding out a week 1 win, but my team is still looking pretty weak. Any trade ideas? Also, how would you go about ranking picks if you want to trade them? Important to say, guys, with keeper leagues, everyone's settings are so different. It's so hard to have like one set of rule for keepers. Some people keep players and there's draft picks attached to them. Some people, you can only keep players for a certain amount of years, or you can only keep a couple keepers, or you keep 8 or 6 or 7 or 5. So hard to know exactly how to value your draft picks, if I'm honest with you. But let's go ahead and have a look at this squad here.
Yeah, I'll have a look here. I don't see his picks at all. Maybe he wasn't able to link them, but I can see his team. He's
What's
ranked
his team
11th here. Squad. I don't even know how to say it. Two aside squad. There you go.
Oh God, that is so rough given the recent news.
That is so rough. We'll break his team down. And Hayden, we definitely see your super chat. We'll definitely get to you. Guys, if you have any other questions, drop a super chat and we'll get to it before we go off. But we're gonna review this team and then get to your questions there. So
it's a good thing we didn't review this team yet, by the way.
Yeah, 100%. Because yesterday we would have been like, or 2 days ago, we would have been like, hey, 2 was great.
Or he's a fine option. Now it's like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. So looking at this team in a dynasty league, in a keeper league.
It's not dynasty.
Sorry, this is redraft. It's redraft, excuse me. Tua, Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield. I think the fact that you have Baker Mayfield's great. And you have Jordan Love that should be coming back here in the next couple days. Or next couple weeks, excuse me. That should be okay. But Tua is a little bit hard to gauge at the moment. At the running back position, you have James Cook, Jerome Ford, Jalen Warren, Zach Charbonnet. James Cook and Zach Charbonnet are going to be your starting 2 running backs this week, which is phenomenal. James Cook already took off for you for 28, 29 points.
Yeah.
Zach Charbonnet should have a top 20 upside top of play this week.
Well, so he had an up and down Thursday night because he may have started Tua. That would have been really bad for him. He probably started Waddle. So 2 really bad things combined with a really good game for James Cook. So
and then he has Puka on the IR as well. Looking at his wide receivers,
this is tough.
You have You have George Pickens as well, who has a tough matchup. Brian Thomas, who has a tough matchup. Jordan Addison, who's hurt.
Jeez, you have been ravaged by injuries, my friend.
It's we're able to trade up picks for next year. So you're able to trade picks in a two. Well, yeah, of course, this is a 2-keeper league. Ended up grinding out week 1, and my team is looking pretty weak. Any trades ideas?
Okay. Here's what we do at quarterback. We probably in this format, one quarterback, we can probably drop him in a redraft league. We're gonna rock with Jordan Love and Baker Mayfield rest of the way. Jordan Love will be a great option when he's back from injury. At running back, you are going to have to rock with Cook and a combination at RB2 of Ford or Charbonnet or Warren every week. Let's hope that Warren improves his role heading into week 2, coming back from that injury. And you have to hope that Nick Chubb is a non-factor this year. But at least even Charbonnet right now is helping you out. So you got good high upside handcuffs on the bench. At wide receiver, you're in a terrible spot because Puka's going to be out for a long time. Jalen Waddle is not going to be good if Tua's out. Maybe, you know what? Maybe they go out and sign Ryan Tannehill or, who knows?
I mean,
we'll have to wait and
see.
The
bright side, this is a start 8 in reality, but like you have 2 of your guys that you wide receiver, the first 2 wide receivers that you drafted no longer being a factor on your team now, which is tough. But yes, continue.
So you've also got Pickens, Thomas, Addison. At least you hit on Brian Thomas as a late pick. That is helping you a little bit. Hopefully AJ Brown's out this week for your sake, so Goddard has a little bit more of a prominent role. I'm not going to lie to you. This is tough. This is transparency is key. This is probably one of the worst teams in your league. I think you know that, especially after the Tua news.
I just don't know if there's anything that we can do here. I mean,
there are no moves possible because Puka Nacua, I mean, what would you sell Puka Nacua for right now logistically? Name a wide receiver. Could you get Xavier Worthy?
You can't. I think the best thing that you could potentially do, even though you probably shouldn't do it this week, is sell Zach Charbonnet to the Kenneth Walker owner.
Yeah, you could try.
What does the Kenneth Walker owner need? I mean, we need to look at the Kenneth Walker. Oh, good to know. Arrest Team 10. Well, he has Jordan Mason, Jonathan Taylor with Zach Moss. So
he's
don't
even need him.
Joke's on you.
He doesn't even need him.
He does not need him there.
We're getting dangerously close to how can we trade for future first-round picks in this keeper league?
Yeah,
we're getting dangerously close to that range, but I would still hold it out one more week. Our start 8 this week, we're going to start, if you already started Tua, then you did, but we're going to start Baker, that's 1. Cook, hopefully you already started him, then Charbonnet, that's 2. We're going to play at our wide receiver spot, Pickens and Thomas. You probably already started Waddle, so our other flex would be Jerome Ford and Dallas Goedert. That's not a terrible lineup, that really isn't. Here's what I would say. If you can trade Puka Nacua for a Tank Dell, a Stephon Diggs, an Amari Cooper, and Xavier Worthy, it might be worth it. However, just realizing obviously this is a keeper league, you probably don't want to do that, especially if you don't have a pick attached to your keepers.
Yeah,
it's just everybody keeps their keepers, and you don't want to do that move actually.
Yeah, we don't know who his keepers are either. So do you make that decision before, or do you know that going into this year? I guess depends, right?
Well, you make that decision heading into next year, but
yeah.
To me, the question is, do you have to, let's say you took Puka Nacua as a first-round pick. Do you have to use the first-round pick on him now as a keeper, or is it not attached to where you selected them in your fantasy draft?
Yeah, I get you.
But yeah, I think here's what you can do. Write it out for this week and next week. And if you don't see a pathway forward, let's say Tua does retire, and they don't have a better option for Jalen Waddle. Let's say Puka Nacua is not progressing. I do think you can start looking towards next year. You can start looking at trading some assets to try and get in a better position next year. Like if someone needs a quarterback, can you trade a Baker Mayfield? If someone needs a running back, can you trade them Jerome Ford? Can you give George Pickens to a competing team? But what I would not do is, if you can keep players and there's no draft pick attached to it, I wouldn't sell Puka. I wouldn't sell Brian Thomas. I wouldn't sell James Cook. And I wouldn't sell Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, I agree.
Very tough spot to be in. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, this is tough. Not looking good so far, but hopefully that helps, man. We really appreciate you. I I know you're probably not in the chat, but please let us know if you have any other questions somehow, some way you can comment on this video. Maybe we can return and say, hey, I'm to a squad. What do you think about this? Hopefully we can try and return that help for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, we really appreciate you. It's a tough go. It's a tough go. I mean, Jordan Love gets injured week 1, 2 gets injured this week. Booth
You
gets
got
injured.
so unlucky, man. I mean,
Jordan Love gets injured. You know, like
the only way you could have gotten more unlucky is if you own CMC. That's literally the only way you could have gotten more unlucky.
Yeah, I mean,
honestly,
it feels like every other player here is injured. So, yeah, man, that's tough.
Sorry, man, that is not fun. Last question of the stream is the super chat here from Hayden, and Hayden says Monty or George Pickens. I'm going Monty this week.
I'm going Monty this week as well. Completely agree.
All right, guys, that is it for today. We appreciate you big time. If you want to ask us a question when we're off stream, I'll put a link in the chat for you here. No obligation to ask a question, but in case you really need an answer, we got to go spend time with our family. We appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Good luck in week 2. All love.
Love.